We are programmed to always do what we think is going to make us happy. Now, here's another irony of nature. Um, just as we're compelled to see life through this illusion of free will, at least most of us, and we're awakening to the reality now. We're also compelled to to just to wanna feel certain ways. To want to be good, to do good, to be happy, to achieve goals. This all this stuff is compelled, and I'm losing my train of thought. Perfect example. This is for another show. This is for another show. If I had a free will, okay, my presentations would be completely organized because I could go through them in my mind and decide exactly what I wanted to say at any moment. Um, but the reality is I can't. I can't. We can't. Um, how else? This is a very again. This it's going to take shows. It's going to take who knows how many shows for you to really appreciate this. That free will is an illusion, and the nature of causality, the nature of the causality that really governs everything. But again, for this episode, I'm going to try to convey just like how you can come to see it in your own life. Okay, let's go with a story. Two friends of mine, they kind of they had a falling out, and they're good friends, but they're not talking to each other for months. So I'm talking with one of them, and she's saying to me, well, this other person acts in a certain way and does this, and it frustrates me, and I can't take it anymore. Okay? And so I'm asking her, well, all right, fine, fine, but why does this person act this way? Why, what's causing this person to act in whatever way is so upsetting? And we're not going to get into the details. We just like fill in the blanks in that sense. And then, so like we have a back and forth dialogue. And I keep asking why, and she might say, well, that's the way she is, that's just the way she is. And then I ask, well, why is she that way? Why is she that way? And my friend would ultimately, she finally came to realize, well, it's because her parents raised her in a certain way. It's because she was raised in a certain environment. It's because she had a certain genetic predisposition. Okay, you have to remember that, like, our personalities are 50% genetic. So, like, if our genetics aren't determining how we perceive the world and our basic character and personality, then it's our upbringing, our environment. And so it's clear to see, it's easy to see in that sense how if our parents raised us a certain way and we were taught in certain schools, we met certain people, we were certain environmental influences molded who we are, then then we can see that no, that's not free will, that's compulsion. And ultimately this friend of mine came to see that. She came to see, well, yeah, her friend had to be the way she was. She couldn't help it at all. It's all about the causal past. Um, okay, so um, so that's the reality, and it's not a pleasant reality for some people because that just means, oh geez, if we don't have a free will, that means we're just robots, we're just puppets, we're just automatons, and yeah, all right, okay, that's the reality, that's the reality. And I've understood this for years. You get accustomed to it, and one way you can kind of make sense of it is like, let's say you believe in God, Okay, 90% of Americans do. I do. I happen to equate God with the universe. You know, if God is everywhere and God is everything, then God is the universe. But and I tend to ascribe to God, perhaps, not perhaps. Well, I don't know. More wisdom or more understanding than I would have as an individual. I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, I don't understand why God would have created evil and pain, because to me, that's like, you know, why would you do that? Maybe he was compelled, or she, he. But, um, but the reality is that, yeah, so if you're not comfortable with the reality that that our wills are causal, that you know that it's God, you know, who has the only power, or it's the causal past that's determining everything that happens today. Um, you know, you can better understand it. If you can appreciate that God is wiser, that God is, you know, has more information, then you can say to yourself, all right, it's probably better. It's probably better for all concerned that reality is causal, because we as very limited human beings, you know, if our choices were left up to us, we'd probably make less good choices. Um, I would think this again. This issue is so all-encompassing, so essential, so fundamental to our reality that you have to think about it. You have to think, well, you know, what is it going to mean? What does it mean to shift from a free will perspective to a causal will perspective? And we'll get into that in other shows. All right. So how else did I come to realize, to discover that free will is an illusion? Okay. Well, one is like through basic education. I've read a lot of psychology. I've taken a lot of psychology courses. And one thing you learn in psychology is that we all have an unconscious. I mean, Freud understood this. We understand this now. And, and here's the thing about the unconscious. It is always awake. In other words, like our consciousness will go to sleep. We'll go to sleep and we won't remember what's happening while we're asleep. But our unconscious, at the time of our sleeping and our waking time, it's always working. Okay, it's always active. It's always kind of like influencing our reality. Now, okay, there's been evidence since the time of the discovery of hypnosis that a person's unconscious can control or decide one's thoughts, even though the consciousness, even though one thinks one's making a choice, you know, under hypnosis and now through neurobiology, we've discovered that yeah, even though we think we're making choices, it's actually the unconscious that's making those choices. And when you realize that, when you realize that you've got an unconscious that is working full time, and think about this, if the unconscious is working full time, it's a part of every decision you make, because otherwise why would it be there? It's feeding you. Basically, your unconscious is your memory store, your store of feelings, your store of experiences. I mean, that's where everything is stored, and you're not aware of it all because you couldn't be, but it's in there within your unconscious. And think about this, because this is how, you know, it made sense to me. If your unconscious never sleeps and is is a part of every decision you make, sometimes it's making the complete decision for you, and the conscious mind has nothing to do with it. Again, we'll go over that in more detail in other shows. If that's the case, then that's a very clear way to understand that free will is an illusion, because we can't control our unconscious. That's the thing. You know, our unconscious, I mean, by definition, we're not conscious of it. You know, it's operating behind the scenes. And so naturally, when we say free will, when we say, you know, that we have a free will, we're saying that our decisions, that everything we decide is up to us. that we can consciously decide what we do or not. But again, if the unconscious is like a part of every decision and we don't know what the unconscious is doing, then the best we're left with is that it's a consciousness unconsciousness collaboration on every decision. And if that's the case and we can't control our unconscious, you can understand how free will is an illusion. We don't have a free will. All right. So how else? We've got about 3.5 minutes left. We can't be as happy as we want to be. We can't be as good as we want to be. We've got this unconscious happening. All right, here's another cool thing. Okay, 5 seconds from now, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I mean, I might have somewhat, I really don't. I really don't. And these thoughts, like what I'm saying right now, these thoughts are just popping into my head. I have a basic understanding of what I want to do, but I purposely didn't over-prepare the show because I wanted to demonstrate this. I wanted to demonstrate how these thoughts are coming to my mind from who knows where, and naturally they're a result of my having researched this topic, having thought about it a lot, having talked about it a lot, having understood that free will is an illusion. All these things are a part of what's causing me to say what I say, but from a moment-to-moment perspective, these thoughts are just coming to me. Again, 30 seconds from now, I have no idea what I'll be saying. But, the thoughts come to us, and that's another way to understand how free will is an illusion. Okay, so, all right, we've got about 2 minutes left, and let's see, the idea is, okay, I have to make I want to end with a very positive point. Giving up the illusion of free will doesn't actually make life worse or less meaningful. It actually makes it better. Because when we give up the illusion of free will, when other people do wrong, we don't blame them. We don't say, oh, you're a bad person, you did wrong, you did wrong. We understand that they were compelled to do wrong, and we're more understanding toward them. We're more forgiving, more compassionate. When we do wrong, when we do wrong, when we look at the wrong camera, we don't blame ourselves because the damn light's not on. No, I can't see it. But really, when we do wrong, we don't blame ourselves because we're, our wills are as causal and compelled as anyone else's. So we don't feel guilty when others do something really great. Sometimes we might have a tendency to feel envious. So we wouldn't, because we would know that was compelled. We're running out of time here. And so anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Exploring the Illusion of Free Will. I'm going to do a few other episodes on my own because my co-host, couldn't make it here because he doesn't have a free will. If he had a free will, he would absolutely be here because, and he's going to be a great part of the show, know me. So anyway, that's it for tonight's show. I'm telling you, this is world changing, okay? Once you understand that we don't have a causal will, it will be a brand new world, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, I'll see you again soon.